this is not a company that I'd heard of before. And I was very curious to see, well, how is this turning out in practice? So this kind of all leads me to this article I saw today on TechCrunch that was having some quotes from the founder, Jerry Coopy, I think is how you pronounce his name, and talking about this company's approach to sort of reducing carbon footprint, entering the fintech space, resale of items. How does this all connect? And one of the ideas I think of this platform is to not only encourage people to, sort of extend the life cycle of their goods, but the money that you make through the platform, maybe you'll be using that to spend on other items, but maybe you'll also be using it to invest in things that are digital, not physical, like NFTs, like cryptocurrency. So the story was announcing that Twig had just closed $35 million in Series A funding. So right now, the company is just available, I guess the platform is just available in the UK. This article says that they plan to launch in the US later this quarter, and then in the EU in the next quarter. The article noted that growth via user referrals looks likely to have helped fuel its early rise, given that Twig charges users a £1 transfer fee for users to send money to a third-party account, but there's no fee if you transfer from one Twig account to another. Now we know that they kind of market themselves as like the bank of things. The article said, it's worth noting that despite that slogan, Twig is not actually a bank, rather it's an e-money account. So kind of a key regulatory difference there. Interestingly, though, it said Twig is applying for something called a B Corporation certificate, which emphasizes social purpose and environmental performance. The CEO said they're in the final stage of that application. The interesting thing this article kind of calls into question that I thought was an interesting question to ponder is this company is very centered around kind of social responsibility, reducing impact on the climate, reducing our carbon footprint. But if you're making money through a platform and then maybe you're spending it on something new, have you just kind of canceled out that effort that you made? And the interesting thing here, it was saying selling a currently owned thing to free up cash might encourage the consumer to splash out more and buy new things. It's not clear that reducing friction involved in reselling will lead to consumers buying less overall. There was a quote from the CEO, though. He said, essentially, our core business is we enable consumers to get paid for their old items. And in the process, we give a new life to their items. And this increases supply in the secondary market, at least. The reason we can afford just to be on the supply side of the markets, there is a much bigger need for extra supply right now. He said he condenses Twig's business to a very simple pitch, which is we tokenize assets. Combining bank-like functionality with a baked-in second-hand goods resale service is a pitch tailor-made for the target Gen Z and younger millennial demographic, the article said. And then finally, something else that really caught my eye, what I had been saying, there's the kind of a sustainability wrinkle to tackle, though, given how thoroughly blockchain is baked into what Twig is doing. This forthcoming functionality will enable users to tokenize real-world assets and make them tradable in seconds. So the idea here, it says in the article, is that Twig will enable digital and physical items to be monetized and traded in new ways. Such an approach will allow users to trade in goods at the checkout page and buy cryptocurrencies as well as NFTs by trading in their clothes or electronics. I think that's sort of the long-term vision there. So really interesting company. Kind of curious to hear your guys' thoughts. This is obviously a really new, has a really new space in this fintech space, but it seems like it's doing a lot of good things.